A comeback for the ages. Tiger Woods speaks to CNN after his stunning triumph at the Masters. The US Secretary of State getting a first-hand look at how the crisis in Venezuela is impacting its neighbours. We'll have Mike Pompeo's message for President Nicolas Maduro. And whilst we don't know the exact due date of the newest British royal, we do know one thing: Harry and Meghan will be breaking away from royal baby tradition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Max Foster in London. This is CNN Newsroom. Tiger Woods is talking with CNN after what's billed as the greatest sporting comeback of all time. The man who's still arguably the world's most famous golfer overcame career-threatening back surgery, not to mention a slew of personal problems, to win his first Masters title since 2005 and his first major in 11 years. On Sunday. Following the victory, Woods sat down with CNN Sports' Andy Scholes to discuss the extraordinary feat.
All right, Tiger, you said before it's a miracle that you can even still play golf considering the back surgeries. 11 years, nearly 4,000 days since your last major. Did you ever think this day would come, and how does it feel?
Yeah, I did think it would come, just because of what I did last year. You know, I had a chance to win the Open Championship. I led on going into the back nine on Sunday. I gave Brooksy a little bit of a run at the PGA, finishing second there. I knew it was in me. No. Did I know it was going to be this week? No. But I had a good feeling that the way I was shaping the golf ball, that I was going to be in the mix.
You joked before that your kids think of you as the video game golfer because they had never seen you win a major. Your kids, your mom, your girlfriend were there waiting for you on 18. What was that moment like when your son Charlie jumped in your arms?
Surreal. You know, I did the same thing to my dad, and now I'm the dad with my son doing the same thing. So it's amazing how life evolves, it changes. That was 22 years ago when my dad was there. And then now my son's there, my daughter was there, my mom's there. My mom was there 22 years ago. And the fact that she's still around, still kicking, still fighting, goes to show you her resiliency. It's hard to comprehend right now. I mean, honestly, I've just only been a few hours out of winning the tournament. I'm still trying to enjoy it and trying to figure out that I want it. I know I have the green jacket on, but it's still, I think it's going to take a little bit of time for it to sink in.
Well, golf fan or not, there is no doubt that this comeback goes beyond a man, a green, a club and a ball. To give you some idea of the scale of this win and why it'll probably go down in history as a miracle sporting moment, CNN's Don Riddell is in Augusta for us.
We have witnessed something truly extraordinary at Augusta. Tiger Woods has won his 5th green jacket at the Masters. The man who once dominated his sport and who then transcended it has been gone for so long. But now he's back. And before he did this, people used to speculate, what would it be like? Where would it rank in the pantheon of great comebacks if Tiger Woods could win another major tournament? So many people didn't think it would happen, and we speculated, well, it would be one of the great comebacks in sport. But now that we've actually seen it and witnessed it with our own eyes, it feels like we have seen the greatest comeback of all time. It's his first major triumph in some 11 years. It's his first Masters win since 2005, a gap of 14 years, and it comes 21 years after his very first Masters triumph back in 1997. Back then, he was the youngest ever Masters champion at the age of 21, and he's now become only the second golfer to win a green jacket in 3 separate decades. Since 2008, Tiger Woods, we all know, has been through so much. There were the marital problems and the spectacular fall from grace, the DUI and that awful police photograph, all the problems with his back, the injuries, 4 operations, risky spinal fusion surgery, and just 16 months ago, he was ranked almost 1,200 in the world. The body was shot, the confidence was gone, and even his most ardent supporters were starting to lose faith. When he spoke to us at the President's Cup 16 months ago, he said just riding in a golf cart was so painful he didn't even know if he could carry on playing. He certainly didn't think it was any kind of guarantee that he could be competitive again on the golf course. But we have seen this resurgence throughout 2018. He was getting better and better, contending at the Open Championship, finishing second in the PGA Championship, and then winning the Tour Championship at Eastlake in Atlanta, just down the road here from Augusta National in Georgia. And that gave him the confidence, that gave him the belief that he could do it again. Golf has changed so much since he was dominating his sport. There are now so many young players who are talented and successful and who don't fear the aura of Tiger Woods. But they have seen today firsthand with their own eyes what he's capable of, and it is a truly extraordinary day. He is 43 years old, the second oldest Masters champion. Jack Nicklaus was 46 when he won his 18th major tournament, and now that Tiger is winning again, the quest is back on. Can he get to Jack's total? Well, he's got 3 more years to win 3 more before he gets to Jack's 46, and that is going to be the compelling and dominant narrative in the world of golf and sport this year. Can't wait. It's going to be another fantastic golf season, and what a day for Tiger Woods. Back to you.
Don Riddell there. Now, beyond the world of golf, Tiger Woods' master victory has united even those who disagree on just about everything else. Mr. Trump tweeted, "Love people who are great under pressure. What a fantastic life comeback for a really great guy." Whilst former President Obama said, "Congratulations, Tiger. To come back and win the Masters after all the highs and lows is a testament to excellence, grit and determination." Coming up on CNN Talk, we want to know what you think, though. Is Tiger Woods' comeback amongst the greatest of all time? You can find inspiration in your own life from it, or can you? Log on to facebook.com/CNN International to have your say. That's CNN Talk, starting at 12 p.m. here in London. That's 7 p.m. in Hong Kong. America's top diplomat is angry and dismayed and pointing a finger at Venezuela's embattled president. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is urging Nicolas Maduro to open his country's borders to relief aid.
We were in the shelters today. We saw children that were sick. We saw families that were eating only every other day. This is a tragedy foisted upon them by their leader in Venezuela, by Nicolas Maduro. The United States is committed to continuing to restore democracy and to try as best we can to get food to the starving and medicine to those kids that are sick. Nicolas Maduro is denying food that's sitting here. These aren't people that are starving because the country doesn't have wealth. These are people that are starving because the political leadership, the military thugs inside of Venezuela have destroyed their capacity to produce crude oil. They have destroyed the capacity to grow crops. They've denied their people aid that is sitting right at the border.
Well, his comments came during a trip to the border town of Cucuta in neighbouring Colombia on Sunday. Secretary Pompeo toured a warehouse filled with relief supplies for Venezuela and met with refugees. CNN's Dave McKenzie has been following all the developments for us. He has more now from Venezuela's capital, Caracas.
The U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo made a brief but highly significant visit to Cucuta on the border of Colombia and Venezuela. He visited with families, struggling Venezuelan families, in migrant centers at that border, as well as viewing the aid, the considerable aid that is ready to come into this country to help people in the humanitarian crisis. The Secretary of State and other U.S. officials have repeatedly blamed the government of Nicolas Maduro for stopping aid from coming in here to help people with life-saving support. Pompeo said over this 4-nation trip that Russia and Cuba, as well as China, are helping to prop up Maduro's government. He said that more needs to be done to get Maduro out.
We've made clear that all options are on the table, and you watch the political and diplomatic noose tighten around Maduro's neck. We will begin to do the same thing. The Cubans must understand, too, that there will be a cost associated with their continued support of Nicolas Maduro. We're going to have that same conversation with the Russians as well.
Opposition leader Juan Guaido, who's recognized as the interim president of Venezuela by more than 50 countries, was in the west of the country this weekend, addressing thousands in Maracaibo, a city that has been hit by blackouts and water shortages. But the opposition is saying to us that over the weeks they've felt a bit of their momentum slip as they try to push the military and others to turn their back on Maduro. Maduro himself was addressing thousands of civilian militia over the weekend here in Caracas. He said he wants 1 million more people to join those civilian militia to help prop up his regime. We visited a rally supporting the president, and people had some strong words for the Secretary of State.
To Pompeo, take your hands out of here. Stop with the conspiracies. Stop with the conspiracies and let us deal with our things on our own. To the people of the U.S., we love you, but we don't want any imperialists.
These people are respected. Venezuela is respected. We don't want anyone to get into our internal problems. We are in solidarity with all the countries in the world.
Don't think that South America will give up. We will keep fighting to the end, Pompeo. Don't think we are scared.
Pompeo's visit underscores the importance of Venezuela to the Trump administration, but even U.S. officials are saying that this could be a long struggle. David McKenzie, CNN, Caracas, Venezuela.
Sudan's military leaders are cleaning house after toppling dictator Omar al-Bashir. The intelligence chief has been replaced and the defense minister removed just days after he was sworn in as the head of the military council. They've also sacked Sudan's senior diplomats in Geneva and Washington. The generals are staying busy, and so are the protesters. After 3 decades under Bashir, they want democracy and they want it now. They're calling for the immediate handover of power to a civilian government. Simis Price Benzo is live in Nairobi, Kenya. That would require elections and a whole infrastructure around that. So what sort of progress is being made towards it, Farai?
Max, the first thing we need to catch you up on is that on Saturday, the 13th of April, 2 days after Omar al-Bashir left and a day after his successor, Mr. Ibn Auf, had resigned, Lieutenant General Abdel Al-Fattah Burhan made great noises about reaching some consensus with the protesters and indeed with the Sudanese Professional Association. And he opened a door for dialogue, that everyone's views will be respected, but he's stuck to this idea that the Military Transitional Council would need 2 years to move on to civilian rule. Now, that's, of course, is why the protesters are still on the streets ever since they went there on the 6th of April. And ever since, over, 30 of them died on the very day since al-Bashir left power. So where does that leave us? It leaves us in a situation where, at the moment, the Military Transitional Council has been supported by an array of people. Let's just take example of the statements that have come outside of Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, where, remember, Mr. Bashir sent up to 10,000 troops in support of the Saudi coalition there in that Yemeni conflict. And then, of course, we had also Egypt, who just back in January, they were saying Egypt fully supports the security and stability of Sudan, which is integral to Egypt's own national security. So all those friends, and they don't just stop with the Arab and the African world. The African Union, incidentally, put out a statement on the day Bashir was supposed to say that this is unconstitutional and this is not the way to take power. So you can see that on one side, Mr. Bashir's many friends did not just include the Arab and the African world, but as well as the United States. Yesterday, we saw the Chargé d'Affaires meeting Mr. Hemeti, who is the second in charge of Sudan's Security Council. And reports we're getting right now as I speak to you, Max, suggest that Mr. Hemeti's rapid support forces are preventing people from entering that military headquarters space that has been integral to what these people have been trying to achieve. And then on top of that, take a look at the European Union and their relationship with Mr. al-Bashir. He went from pariah, an indicted war criminal by the International Criminal Court, only to become a sort of source of great intelligence in their fight against illegal migration across Sudan and Africa and the Mediterranean, and all that huge issue about the flow of migrants drowning in the sea. There's several accords were signed, one in November 2015, and in Valletta, the capital of Malta, between the Europeans and their African counterparts. So you can see that protesters have a great deal to do to overcome this international support for what is essentially a military transitional council in the shape and form of their predecessor, Mr. Omar al-Bashir, Max.
Farai Svenzo in Nairobi, thank you. US Attorney General, the US Attorney General could release a redacted version of the Mueller report as early as this week, but will the content support President Trump's claims of what he calls a complete and total exoneration? And have you ever wanted to learn more about the secretive Chinese president? Well, there's an app for that, apparently.